you're going to see the classic bob, a haircut by Mindy. But before we see the cut, let's just think about what happens when you enter the salon, you're ready to start your working day. First of all, be there early, because starting work is not doing your first haircut. It's making sure that your station looks great, that it's really clean, and that you're ready, that you look the part, that your makeup, if you're wearing makeup, is right, and that you're really ready to make the statement about the level of your professionalism. And you know, when I work behind the salon chair every day with every customer, prior to ever sitting them down, I used to go over and say, I'll be 1 minute, I'm just going to prepare my station. I'd come over, I'd wipe the chair, I'd make sure that the desk was clean, then I'd bring the customer over, give them a seat, do the consultation, start my haircut. And with every haircut, when I finished, whether the mirror was perfectly clean or not, I felt that the quality of work that I had just performed deserved seeing it in a sparkling mirror. So I'd pick a water spray up, deliberately spray the mirror, clean it off with the towel, and then hand it to the customer. Turn them around, let them see the cut. There's a lot of different parts that go together to create what I would call a perfect service. And there are really two key elements. One of them is the customer service part of it. They're the issues that we just talked about. And the other piece of it is the quality of the haircut. And remember, never forget that part of really good customer service is making sure that during the consultation, you've had really clear communication with the customer, that they completely understand what you're about to do, and that you understand what it is that their expectations are and will be when you finish that haircut. So let's see Mindy and the classic bob.
Thanks, Gordon. This is my model, Jenny, and today we're going to create the classic bob, a shape that never goes out of style. My sectioning will be first in the back, and I'm going to take 3 to 4 sections in the back, cutting right on the skin. My next start point will be on the side, taking 3 sections on the side, but my first start point is shampooing. With Jenny's classic bob, we're going to take the length just above the shoulder so that it has a free swinging motion to it. But my first start point is going to be in the back. And as you can see, I already created a center part on top, and I'm going to continue that center part down to the nape area. One thing I'm going to have my model do is make sure that she keeps her head forward. In order to guarantee that, I also tell clients or models to keep their eyes down too, because every time their eyes go up, the head will go up. And it's always good to make sure that the client knows why you need to have them do something. Makes it a little easier. Now I clipped the first section out of the way, and now I'm going to take a parting off. I'm going to lift your head just a little. Right about the ear area. I'm going to make sure that the hair that I take on the side is not laying over the ear. Everything that lays over the ear is considered the front. Just double checking. Okay, now we're ready. Now my first section is going to be just below the occipital bone. And I'm going to take a slightly diagonal parting. And the reason for that is because the head is round. In the classic bob, the length is the same length all the way around from the front to the back. If I took my parting and drew it straight across and the client lifts their head up, you're actually going to create a shorter front than the back. That's very important. I'm just going to miss this a little bit. I'm also going to remember too that as I comb this hair down, I want it to be clean from scalp to end. And when I place my finger to hold the tension, I want to make sure that my position of the finger is exactly the same as my parting. Take it just a bit shorter. I'm going to pick this section up, recomb it to make sure that this very first section is perfect. This section will also be the guide, or actually it is the guide for the entire haircut. Now my second section is going to be on the opposite side. Again, I'm going to part this side off, comb this out of my way. After I initially draw this very first section, I'm going to take a step backwards and make sure that this section is identical to the first section that I took. And sometimes it takes just taking a step backwards to make sure that they're perfect. Okay, and again remembering that your fingers are parallel to your partings. Okay, picking this section up, making sure that it's clean. Again, this first section is going to be the guide for the entire haircut. So you want to make sure that you spend enough time on this particular section to know that you're not going to, in the end, find something that is going to be a surprise. Okay, now my second section is going to be just above the occipital bone. And in the opening, I made reference to taking 3 or 4 sections up the back of the head. The reason why you might take 4 sections versus 3, or even sometimes 5 versus 4, is the density of the hair. The density is going to determine how many sections that you take. In this particular case with Jenny, I'm going to take 3 sections. So my second section is going to be above the occipital bone. And I'm going to clip this out of the way, still maintaining that angle. Okay. Another very important point is sometimes what happens when you cut bobs is that the front sometimes gets shorter than the back, or you get one side shorter than the back, or the one side shorter than the other side. One of the reasons that happens is we have a tendency to sometimes walk around our clients as we cut. And I'm going to show you here in just one second why you would not want to do that. Good tension, clean from scalp to end. I'm going to look for my guide and cut. Now, if I stand right here, my fingers can be parallel to my partings. But if I walk this way to stand, I'm going to actually cut my corner off. So make sure that you're always aware of where your body position is when you're cutting bobs. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue cutting the back. My third section is going to be right at the crown area to behind the ear. And when I'm done, we'll come back to start the sides. Okay, we finished the back of Jenny's classic bob, and now we're going to go into the sides. My section is going to start from the center back right through to the front hairline. And again, making sure that your section is very clean. And then I'm just going to clip the rest of the hair out of my way. Okay, I'm going to take a section behind the ear. I'm going to take a section in front of the ear. I'm going to lift Jenny's head just a little bit. And I'm going to comb this section down. And I'm going to lift my finger up to release that tension over the ear. And I'm going to cut. My next section, I'm just going to follow through, maintaining my fingers are parallel to my parting, and I'm not walking around my client or my model. So if I walk around and pull the hair this way and cut it, I'll be cutting my corner off, and I'll be having a round shape versus the classic bob where it's the same length all the way around. My second section is going to be, again, from the center back right through to the front hairline. Clipping the rest of the hair out of my way. Take a section behind the ear, in front of the ear. I'm switching the comb to use the tension now to make sure that the hair is clean from scalp to the ends. I'm going to release some of that tension and cut. In my last section, same system. Making sure that the hair is clean from the scalp to the ends. Using the wide teeth of my comb, taking a section behind the ear and in front of the ear, switching the comb to use some tension. Draw it down. Making sure it's perfect before you move on. Okay, that side's done. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and we'll come back to show you the finished look. Okay, I finished the perimeter of the classic bob, and now I want to share with you how to cross-check your classic bob back. And the reason for this is to allow more freedom of movement or position of the part in the hairstyle. So I'm just going to comb everything back, have my model's head forward, and just cut right on the line. And again, this will allow the client freedom to change the part without having longer pieces of hair on one side or the other. Okay, so now that the haircut is complete, we're going to style Jenny's hair out. The tools that I'm going to choose to use in styling is the medium hold mousse and the Denman brush. The reason why I'm choosing the Denman brush is because the air can't flow through this particular brush. And it's the brush that will give you the smoothest, sleekest look, and it's perfect for a classic bob. Okay, I finished Jenny's style, and one thing about the classic bob is it's so versatile. I parted it off to the side, but it's just as easy to take it and swing it off from the opposite side. Another fun way to wear the classic bob is the way that I cut it with a center part. And again, I cut it with a center part so Jenny could have much more fun with her hairstyle without worrying about trying to get the part right on every time she styled it out. The classic bob is the foundation of our video library. Take the time and practice and have a great time.